How you doing, guys? This is Ryan. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about a baseball player probably not a lot of people have heard about, but his name is Bobby Bonilla, and his story with compounding interest and opportunity cost. I'm actually back here at my old stomping grounds, my old high school baseball field. I haven't coached here for a number of years. Place feels like home. The nice smell of the grass and just peaceful place to be. The story broke on July 1st because Bobby Bonilla hasn't played baseball since 2000 with the New York Mets. But every year on July 1st, he gets a paycheck from the Mets. And that paycheck is for $1.193,248.20. And this guy hasn't played baseball for him for 19 years. And he started getting these payments in 2011, and he will keep on receiving them until 2035. Fascinating, fascinating. So it's a very interesting story, so let me walk you through it. A pretty good baseball player, actually here in South Florida. He helped our Florida Marlins win a World Series in 1997. He was a big contributing factor to that World Series team.
The fans settle back in after the 7th inning stretch, and Bobby Bonilla launches one to deep right. Bonilla sends one out of here.
So thank you, Bobby Bo, for that. He was later traded a few more times. In 2000, he ended up with the Mets. And he had a really bad year. He was hitting terribly. His batting average like 160. He was fighting with his managers. He refused to even help the team pinch hit to help the team win and do better. So his team, the New York Mets, were stuck with this contract that owed him $5.9 million from a non-performing asset. And the Mets wanted to rebuild their team, and they wanted to use that $5.9 million to help the team rebuild. And an interesting backstory to this, the Mets ownership was involved with Bernie Madoff, who was promising them at least 10% to 15% returns on their cash. And we kind of all know how that whole Bernie Madoff thing turned out. So they said, well, if we can defer this money to Bobby Bo, tell him we'll give him money in the future with interest, we can keep that $5.9 million, we can invest it elsewhere in our ball club, and any other cash that we're holding, we're gonna be getting 10 to 15% with Mr. Madoff. So the Mets and Bobby Bo sat down. Bobby Bo had a really good agent named Mr. Gilbert, and what to do with this $5.9 million for a non-performing asset. They deferred payments to 2011, and they kind of haggled over the interest rate. Bobby Bonilla and his side, they wanted $5.9 million with 10% compounding interest. The Mets said, no, we want to do 6%. We want to do 6%. And they ended up actually meeting in the middle at 8%, which 8% is a solid return, but one any average investor can attain. And I talk about that in my all-weather fund video, which I can link here. It's a pretty solid return to have. Just about anyone can receive a return like that, but the Mets felt that they could do much better than the 8%, so they could just profit the difference. Now, as we all know, Bobby Bo, he gets this $1.193 million check July 1st every year from 2011 to 2035. And so rather than that $5.9 million the Mets could have just paid him back in 2000, they're gonna end up paying him close to $30 million in total by deferring this. So that should tell you something. That should tell you something about compounding interest. 5.9 million turning into 30 million. And I really want this to be a message to anyone watching. You know, starting investing early and letting time work, the number can build. But I also want you to keep in mind that it does well with smaller numbers. So in the YouTube video I made just about my all-weather fund, one of my investment portfolios, I only have $18,903 in there. And if I keep on doing what I'm doing, if I just put in $100 a month, and if I get a conservative interest rate of 7%, in 35 years, my $18,903 will turn into, put it on the screen here, $216,641.41. That's the power of it, guys. I can turn a small number. Anyone here can save up that much amount of money. Anyone here can contribute $100 a month to a retirement fund. Let compounding work for you. Time is on your side. Honestly, get started today. I have a saying I tell people. It's, when's the best time to plant a tree? These trees. When's the best time to plant a tree and have a tree grow? The answer is 20 years ago, but there's nothing we can do about that. The second best answer is today. So what can you do today to start building that tree to financial freedom? And in future videos, I'll show you guys my other 401k It's a little bit bigger, and it's designed to invest a bit more aggressively. Now I want to talk about the other side of this, because the Mets were okay with doing that because they felt like they could have done well with Bernie Madoff, and that $5.9 million invested into the team could help them perform better as a business. It's really a business. We say it's a game, but it's really a business at the end of the day. So the Mets took $5.9 million and they went out and signed one of the top free agent pitchers, and he actually in the following season became the championship series MVP. So think about all the ticket sales, all the more success the team had because they had this really good pitcher, and the return they got from all those playoff games, selling tickets, selling jerseys, any kind of merchandise, any way they were able to monetize their team extra because of their playoff run and the team's success. And then after that season, they were able to trade Mike Hampton for a very high draft pick, and they drafted one of their great franchise players, third baseman David Wright, who became a superstar for the team as well, and probably made them lots and lots of money as well. So there's two things really to take away from this video, is compounding interest, which I never heard a teacher tell me about in school. I went to the school over here. Not one of them told me how powerful it is, and also how destructive it can be if it's working against you if you have debt, high interest debt, so pay that off as well. And also opportunity costs. So the Mets have to write that painful check for $1.193 million every July 1st, and Bobby Bonilla is in his 50s now, just sitting back collecting checks, living the dream. But the Mets were able to invest that money, improve their ball club, and probably made a lot of money off it as well. So understand the costs of opportunities that are in front of you, and not taking advantage of opportunity can cost you a lot as well. So how are you utilizing your time in the day? You know, what are you doing things monotonous that are not maximizing your potential, your health, your income? These are all opportunities that we're spending in ways that we may not even consciously know about. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Were you familiar with this deferred contract? Would you have rather had the $5.9 million in the year 2000, or would you have rather waited till 2011 and got $1.193 million checks for 35 years? What makes it such an interesting story is just how unproductive Bobby Bonilla was as a player, and how poor of a performing of an asset he was for the New York Mets. Pretty insane that a guy who fought with his manager and was not productive gets this check every year. And he got a good agent and got a nice compounding interest. If you guys like videos about this, about finance, investing, and watching someone on the journey to financial freedom, please make sure to subscribe. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a like. It really helps the YouTube algorithm, that lets YouTube know it's a good video. And also, please make sure to follow me on Instagram. I post there pretty much daily. And always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Nice, beautiful day at the field.